Romance scammers across the world are victimizing the unsuspecting on social media platforms, and they're virtually unchecked for their fraud and unpunished for the damages they inflict.
My likeness and my image is being used and abused and leveraged and exploited to rob people of millions and millions of dollars. Hi, my name is Anthony Dohrmann. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of a company called Electronic Caregiver. We provide population health and digital health technology for monitoring and supporting and improving outcomes for the chronically ill and protecting and providing both security and health support for our elderly population. Dealing with a lot of the elderly, we are constantly warning them about the common scams, right? They are some of the most scammed individuals in America. But there's a new scam that I've become a victim of.
4 years ago, a little over 4 years ago, is when we discovered that Mr. Dohrmann's images had been stolen and were being used by scammers. We didn't understand the depth of that or the impact it was going to have back then. But now, 4.5 years forward from that first discovery, we're actually shocked at some of the things that we've uncovered, at some of the people that we've talked to.
Some people think that I'm actually the person scamming them with this second identity while I'm having this double life I'm living. It's incredibly painful.
CNN reported in August of 2019 that federal officials announced that they charged 80 people, including Nigerians based in Los Angeles, and businesses and romance scams worldwide.
It's painful to see people, when you're in the business of protection, become injured, and in some cases, it ends in a death. These are serious outcomes to just brutal, malicious crimes.
They hope that by filing an FBI form that they'll be able to recover some of their lost retirement accounts or equity from their homes, but that's not the case. Once the money's gone, the chances of it being recovered are zero. We do help the victims that contact us. We try to normalize the situation for them so that they don't feel like they're the only one that ever happened to, so that they don't feel stupid and alone and isolated. We try to really be encouraging from the perspective of this has happened to other women as well, using those same photographs. You're not alone, and we get it. We understand. We're here to help.
The Federal Trade Commission has warned that scams that prey on vulnerable people cost Americans more money than any other fraud reported. More than 21,000 people were conned into sending $143 million in such schemes in 2018 alone. We now know those numbers are severely underreported, and the world has seen an absolute spike in these numbers during the COVID-19 pandemic.
And it's such an easy problem to stop, and these big tech companies don't care. I mean, we try to report these profiles are up, and they won't take them down.
For me personally, as the person that interacts with these victims and tries to take down and report as many profiles on all of these platforms as possible, I think my biggest challenge is the indifference that I have faced with the platforms themselves. For instance, on Facebook, we discovered 93 profiles. 93 profiles from Nigeria of people with their families and their loved ones and their children and happy, except in the work section of every one of those profiles, it said, pizza delivery, Anthony Dohrmann, bus driver, Anthony Dohrmann, medical assistant, Anthony Dohrmann. And as I began to research and dig into all of those profiles, I realized they were all friends. They all knew each other. And we realized that we discovered a ring that nobody would do anything about.
This has become such a big deal that we find out $25,000, $60,000, $50,000, $220,000 at a time. We're talking just my images and the people I'm aware of, millions and millions of dollars has been scammed out of people over the last 4 years. Simple protocols and common sense practices, and it's literally just planning a defense against protecting our people for these big tech companies they wouldn't even see the spend. It would cost them virtually nothing to be able to do this.
Anthony Dohrmann, an electronic caregiver, officially joined the fight to protect and warn as many potential victims as possible.
It's pretty disheartening. There are platforms now that there are no reporting mechanisms. Words with friends. All you can do is block that person. There's no way to even report. So I think the one thing that gets me the worst, that causes me the most anger in this whole situation, is the fact that there's such an indifference by the platforms themselves and not being willing to help protect these victims. And I think it's time we get together and do something about that.
The interactions we have had with some of these victims, these people are not just financially devastated. Imagine a widow who finally, a year or two down the road, has said, I'm going to open myself up to have a little bit of a communication. And over the next 3 to 6 months, gets swallowed up into this scam and then deals with this massive secondary subsequent loss and goes through the whole grieving process again, and has been scammed out of a big portion of their life insurance settlement by this scam artist. So this has got to stop. It has to stop now. It's part of much bigger problems, as we all know, with these technology companies that don't seem to care. Profits first, ad dollars first, stock prices first. And there are so many ways that these platforms are being exploited in ways that are causing the devastating negative impacts to humanity. And so it's time for some empathy and some morals and some compassion and some action as we move now to protect people and their dignity and their well-being.